I hope it will not be very long. I have a few questions before we proceed. So you are already forming your groups, right, at the moment. This is a simple question that anyone can answer. So read through these three questions, and I want a brave soul to come up to summarize what is the conclusion of your group's opinion about these three questions. The first one, what are the things that makes you go to church? Okay, that's the first one. The second one, what activities in the church that makes you feel closer to God? Because there are many activities that might be things that are not related to God, right? And the third one, what activities in the church that makes you think that you did something for God and felt appreciated? Okay? I just give you about 5 minutes because we don't have much time. So, you are in your groups now, or you can form your groups in a quick situation. And send one person to summarize what your group says. Only these three questions. The first question is in general, anything. What are the things that makes you go to church? Anything. Okay. Now the second question and the third question is a little bit more specific to the church. What activities in the church that makes you feel closer to God? And then the third one, what activities in the church that makes you think that you did something for God? Make it short. You don't only have about 3 more minutes to go. Okay, 2 more minutes. Okay, how does it goes? One more minute to wrap it up, and then you can, maybe I'll just walk around with the mic, if you're a little bit shy, so you can speak better. Okay, is there any group that is ready to answer? Okay, I think time is up. Any group that is ready? Okay, Red House. Okay, let's listen to the Red House. We're going to answer these 3 questions. Yes, time is yours.
So the first question, we think the things that make us to go to church is to to praise God, to getting a closer relationship with God, to know more about God. Yes, and then the second question is activities. The children's story, the sermon, the Sabbath school, the singing part, and the third question is the offering part. Taking part in the service and the divine service.
Okay, thank you, group. Thank you, Red House. Thank you for your answer. So, now, what house is this? Yellow House. Let's listen to Yellow House.
For question number 1, honestly speaking, is a sermon, because by listening to the sermon, it can really nourish my spiritual life. For number 2, the activities in the church that makes me feel closer to God is branch Sabbath school, because by participating in the branch Sabbath school, somehow I can bring the gospel to children, to those people that don't know about Christ. And number 3, the activities in the church. I think before I was in the orchestra, I was a cello player, and I enjoy it because I use this instrument to praise, glorify God's name. And since now I'm getting busier, nevertheless, I believe God will give me another chance to praise His name in the near future. Thank you.
Okay, so for number one, the things that make us go to church, we said friends, music, potluck, so we love eating, so potluck, and attendance for AIU, so attendance, and parents. So number 2, what activities in the church that makes you feel closer to God? So choir, Sabbath school, Pathfinder, and then some master guide. So number 3, what activities in the church that makes you think you do something for God and would appreciate it? Okay, so Grand Sabbath school, greeting, we have greeters, so when they greet people, they feel they did something. Baptism, house visitation, visiting the sick people, and leadership, when you have a role in the church. And fellowship clubs, like Koinonia and Friendship Club. And tithe, when you give tithe.
Okay, thank you. What color? Purple house. great. Can you go ahead? Okay, thank you all house for your valuable and valid answer. Because all your answers are good. You see, nowadays, this is the research that was done in the US. In 2019, it says that the top 5 reasons church drops out says they stop attending church. You see, first one is because this is the age 23 to 30, because they moved college. So they moved out from their home, their house. So they stop attending church. Church members seem to be judgmental or hypocrites. Right? I didn't feel connected to people in my church. This is a Protestant church, okay, in general. I disagree with the church stance on political and some social issues. My work responsibilities prevented me from attending church. So these are just some of the, in general, Protestant study that has been done. Now, according to Jeff Parker, an Adventist youth director in Australia, according to the article 2020 says that around 62% of young people who attend a church in Australia leave before they are 30. 62%. That's a very high percentage. Adventist Church researchers Mantiri says that the cost of members leaving the Adventist Church has less to do with the doctrinal disagreements than with problems people experience in their personal lives. Lastly, there's a statistician named David Trim. He said that creeping secularism of our world is the factors. So, this is the resource. You see, in the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 2, verse 1 to 4, it says that, but mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. You can read through, okay? I'm wise. But I would like to emphasize here, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. Do you agree with me? You see now, everything is available in your hand, right? People are seeking more into entertainment, amusement, pleasure, right? Rather than seeking of God's word. Now, this is why it says in the message to young people, chapter 127, paragraph 1, first paragraph, she said, the desire of excitement and pleasing entertainment is a good temptation and a snare to God's people, and especially to the young. Okay. If you agree or you don't agree, it happens. You see, a lot of times people like to go to the musical concert, to the nightclubs, right, rather than go to the church activities. It's big time in the Western world. Sports, right? It's very entertaining. People look at it. Even what's so-called the Seventh-day Adventist youth, they involve in all these things. So, I would like to emphasize today about secularism. What is secularism? Secular. Focus on the world. That's very good. Anyone wants to try to say anything. Secularism. Anything that is secular. If you look in the internet or in the dictionary, I just paraphrase it. Nothing to do with religion. Secularism. I have nothing to do with church. I have nothing to do with God, right? I'm more interested into doing anything that I would like to do. Entertain. Now, to answer those things, I have chosen two parables. Two parables in the Bible. The first one, you can find it in the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 14 to 30. This is the familiar parable. I don't want to read the whole chapter because, it's about the talent. Okay, and there's another one. So, in this parable, You know the story, right? God, as the landowner, right? He gave his worker, his servant, 5 talents, 2 talents, and 1 talent, right? And what happened to the workers? What did they do with the 5 talents? They invested, right? They multiplied. So 5 becomes 10. Alright? Now the 2 talents, the person also invested and multiplied to become 4. So they gain 2 more to become 4. Now what happened to the 1 talent? He just went to bury it. Why? Why did he do that? Instead of investing it, right? He just go and bury it. Read in the book of Matthew chapter 25, you can see. He said, what should I do with this one? It's just not fair. God gave my friend 5 talents, 2 talents, and me only 1. So I just better go and dig it and hide it, bury it. Done. Nothing to do with that, right? Okay. Now the next parable, it is in Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 to 16. You can read it through as well. Now in this parable, Jesus said that the landowner or the master is looking for people to work in his vineyard, in his work. So he went out early in the morning to look for people. At 9 a.m., he found some people, somebody standing on the road and said, "You want to work? I'll pay you 1 denarii. Go to work in my farm." Alright? 9 o'clock in the morning. And then at 12 o'clock, he walk and find people also. Invite them to work in his farm. At 3 p.m., same thing. At 5 p.m., same thing. At the end of the story, at the end of the parable, it says that all of them got paid the same amount, which is 1 denarii. Now, can you imagine if you are the one that work starting from 9 a.m.? What will you feel about the master? Because he paid you 1 denarii and the person that just came 5 p.m. got the same pay. Is it fair? No, right? It's not fair. So, the story said, God said at the end, the master said, "Who are you? I am the one that paid you. Why should you question me?" Okay, so in here what I would like to withdraw from the parable is talking about heaven. Anyone that came or God called them at the beginning, maybe some of you were born SDA. Alright? Some of you were born, some of you were converted to be an Adventist when you were in high school. Some of you were just learning to follow God. Okay? But all of us, all of you that God calls to the service, got paid equal. Because He is God, right? He's the one that paid you. So, my question related to the topic that I was given: why should we join the church activities? That's what I'm very happy to see all of you joining the activities, like how to make the longest slide, right? What lesson you said that you learned from the activities? Teamwork, thinking creative, right? Those are activities that will increase your thinking, critical thinking, right? Now, if you relate it to the parable about the 5 talents, 2 talents, and 1 talent, God entrusted all of us with talents, right? Tamara can have maybe 10 talents, right? And someone can get only 1 talent. And all the talents are different, right? But God still gives you talents. And what God says is you need to go and multiply the talent instead of keeping it or burying it and no gain. The purpose of going to church, like you see, for sure activity also matters. But we go to church because we are the co-worker in God's service. See, God called each one of us, no matter how early we are called, the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, right? We are all called to be the worker of God. Co-worker. In the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 9 says, For we are co-workers in God's service. You are God's field, God's building. See, we are familiar with the terms that we are one body. We are one in God. Hand cannot do his job without eyes, for example. Everything has to work together, right? Teamwork. That's what activity that you just did earlier. Then he said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. Matthew 9. God needs workers. We are called to work together with God. With all the talent that he gave us. No matter 5 talents, 2 talents, or 1 talent. Number 2, I just want to emphasize three things in here. The second one is to keep the fire burning for God. You see, if you are in the campground, there's a fire, right? And if you separate those fireworks, what happens to the fire? It will die down. And eventually, those that were separated from the main fire will disappear. Gone. No more fire. So the lesson here is, God entrusted you with talents. God has called you out, no matter how early you are in the service. You still need to be active. Come to church. Join many activities in the church. It will keep your fire burning. Although in reality, sometimes you want to be active, but the church ignores you, right? It happens. Sometimes the church maybe did not show some appreciation to what you've done, right? And it discourages you. Discouragement is deadly. It can ruin someone's life. Discouragement. But remember, God entrusted you with any talent to be a worker with Him. Keep the fire burning. Now the last thing. Oh, not yet. It says in Matthew 5 verse 16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. Let the light shine. You do not keep the light for yourself. Let it shine. Now the last one is involvement. Participation. I'm happy to see all of you are here. You participate. It's good to see people participate, right? If you do not participate, who's going to run the program? It's not about the person that's standing in the front. It's about you. When you participate, you increase your talent to be a better person, to be a better singer, to be a better person that understands your friend, right? To be a better listener to your friend that has a problem, for example. So Matthew 28 says, therefore go and make disciples of all nations. And you can read through. And what Mrs. White says in the book, in the Ministry magazine, is very interesting here. It says, this is still the question every Seventh-day Adventist should ask himself or herself. What can I do to proclaim the third angel's message? Not everyone can go as a cross-culture or foreign missionary, but those who cannot go can give to foreign missions, pray, or can witness at home. And also she mentioned further, home missionaries. Only if every Adventist takes personal responsibility for reaching the world will it happen. But only then there is much for us to do. We need every church member to be involved. That's why the church came up with the slogan, the TMI. Total members involved. So, no matter how early you are called to the service of God, whether you are, your parents are Adventists, you were born in Adventist, or you just newly born Adventist, God calls you to develop your talent through your participation in the church, to be active. Increase your talent. Increase your ability for God. Keep the fire burning. Alright? Because, remember, we are living in the secular world. There are many things out there, very entertaining. You can be happy, but it is only temporary. Right? God entrusted us with talents for His service, to serve Him. And He wants us to work together with Him as a co-worker. Keep the fire burning for God. To be active. If you always come to the activity, you will feel that you are part of it. If you are trying to separate yourself, sooner or later you will go out from the church, for sure. Total member involvement. Because at the end, God will ask us, what did you do with the talents that I gave you? He will ask us, what did you do with the ability that you have? Did you multiply it or you just buried it under the dirt? Okay? Because Matthew 25 verse 23 says, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. I hope this will be part of us as we go through the week. Keep the fire burning. Remember, we are a co-worker with God and involved in every church activities. May God bless you.